Growing up, video games were a big part of my life. Yet, it was never really something I continued to do as I grew older. Despite leaving video games behind, it wasn't something I could forget forever. I mean, how can I forget playing a Super Mario countless times saving Princess Peach? Or playing Minecraft with my cousins and friends? Everywhere you go, there will always be some sort of media that displays video games. And as someone that is interested in art and storytelling, it's impossible not to see people talk about things online such as The Last of Us, Spider-Man PS4, the entire Pokemon franchise, Nier Automata, and so much more. And even if they weren't really games I planned on playing since I had no money to buy a console or any PC, it always struck my interest. So I would always watch people play it with hopes of playing it one day for myself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier.
And I know you can't afford this game, that's why you'll watch me play it. And so, that dream of mine of playing video games on my own console would be untouched for a very, very long time. Until I met this wonderful girl that eventually turned into my girlfriend. Along with teaching me how to finally clean my room, she introduced me to the world of video games again through her expensive and awesome, sleek PS5. Yes, boys, your broke boy finally can play video games, and even better, on a 4K 40-inch display monitor. Let's go. But along the lines of suddenly having the privilege to have access to such a big and powerful console, I struggled with the decision of choosing what video games to play. I swear there are so many video games out there in the market with genres of things I didn't even know existed, and all of them overwhelmed me. And so, after 3 to 5 business days of narrowing down my valuable options, I have picked 3 video games of 3 different genres to focus on and eventually ignore all responsibilities in life. Introducing Resident Evil Remake. Resident Evil has always been a video game or movie I was interested in as a kid growing up. The horror genre has always been something I was fascinated by as I love horror stories. My experience with the game, however, as a person that hasn't played any video game in the last 14 years, I was trembling and shaking in fear. Who knew bad graphics could still scare an already adult guy in his college years? The puzzle aspect of the game was hard to catch up on at first, but as the game started to become less scary, I was finding keys to doors and moving along quickly in the mansion. Unfortunately for me, along the game, my powers of figuring things out was at its end, and I reverted to watching YouTube playthroughs again like I used to as a kid when I couldn't figure out what was the next step. And although I acknowledge this was my fault, this took out the fun of the game for me so much, as I figured that I can just search up where are the keys and puzzles. Therefore, it led to me losing interest in the game. And to this day, I have not touched my Resident Evil CD, but maybe one day I hope to come back to it. It's also worth noting that the next 2 games were games I actually connected to more and ended up loving even better. I rate Resident Evil an 8 out of 10.
Aha! You must be the new hunter. Welcome to the hunter's dream.
Introducing Bloodborne. Nothing would have prepared me for this gothic, fighting, big boss type of an adventure. Bloodborne, for those of you who don't know, is about a hunter who hunts beasts in a town called Yarnam. But they aren't just beasts. They're actually people transformed into monsters because of the blood moon. Considering this was only my second game, I actually got pretty good at it after dying so many times. I took this game so seriously. Every boss was designed to make you feel so small and hopeless, and that's why each time you beat an unbeatable, unfair boss fight, you feel like you've actually earned it. Not to mention, the design of this game is just so magnificent and elegant. You have worlds that are decaying yet beautiful, And the costumes or armor you wear are so awesome, ranging from classy to straight up looking like you came out of the sewer. As straight and simple as it sounds, Bloodborne is more complex than that. Considering there's so much lore to the video games, sometimes you have to search on YouTube to understand some things of the story. There are fellow hunters you meet that you think are your allies, but end up being a surprise enemy because they've gone too mad killing too many beasts. There are so many worlds you can visit in the world of Bloodborne, and I love every single one of them. Except the Forbidden Woods. But that's just a little complaint, a nitpick. One of the things I love about Bloodborne are the NPCs. If you wanna know what I mean, listen to this guy's voice actor.
I am Volta, Master of the League. Members of the League cleanse the streets of all the filth that's spread about during the hunt.
They just really feel like real people, living in their own world, doing their own quests that you can even participate in. And all of that just makes the story so much more unique and rich. Another NPC in this game that all Bloodborne fans love is the doll. She is one of the kind beings of this game, and when you're playing a game like Bloodborne that's filled with dark and cruel fantasies, any bit of kindness is always appreciated.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
One thing to point out in this game though is how easy it is to miss out on things that are important. It's actually crazy how I actually missed on an entire skippable optional world that contained the best boss fights and lore. It's thanks to my girlfriend for actually directing me to the places I could go to, and because of that, I was able to experience Bloodborne all to the fullest. I loved the game so much and also hated it at the same time that I competed to get my first platinum trophy and got a 100% on the game. Yes, I completed the game 3 times. Until I found out there's actually a DLC. Maybe I'll get it when I have money or when I think my mental health can take it. I rate Bloodborne a 10 out of 10. Now, for the last game, I decided to choose something a little more friendly, something a little more warm and wholesome that wouldn't make my mental health decline. Welcome to the world of Pokemon Scarlet. Growing up, I had a brother that loves Pokemon to this day, and I'd occasionally borrow his Game Boy back then to play some Pokemon for myself too. But I never actually got into it, so giving it a try after all these years was a little challenging because it was a bit overwhelming considering this is my first open world video game and I was confused as to where to go and what to do. All that didn't last long though, when I learned how fun it is to explore different lands and meet and catch new Pokemon. I instantly became a fan. Picking your first Pokemon was so nostalgic for me. I remember the times when I used to play in my brother's Game Boy. I'd always have fun picking which Pokemon I want to train and get stronger with. Out of the bunch, I picked Fuecoco. It's funny how I actually got somewhat attached to my virtual pet. But I guess that's the charm of it, right? Something about the wholesome nature of the story, like doing quests where you have to find the secret menu of a restaurant to fight the Pokemon boss gym leader, was so endearing to me, and how the characters are so quirky and unique in their own ways. Listen man, Bloodborne and Resident Evil may be the greatest games to exist to me, but I have never once smiled playing them. Pokemon got me smiling the entire time, seeing cute Pokemon and battling Pokemon that are higher levels than me. Yes, it is more simple and the graphics do get wonky at times, but the enjoyability was such a nice experience that I find myself smiling while writing this script right now. Another thing I want to mention is how this game doesn't really require you to button mash or have quick hands. Unlike the previous game Bloodborne, you win by being reactive and fast. Here, you just have to pick the right move to do and hope that you beat your opponent. It's literally like crossing your fingers and hoping that you did the right thing. A complaint that I have is that it wasn't clear to me how to go to other places in the map, when my Pokemon that I can ride cannot swim on water, but the map showed that the location I was trying to get to was in the middle of the ocean. This caused me to have some video game nausea, since I get dizzy quickly and sometimes I get stuck in areas and get stressed by it. But as I learned that I have to go through this area first to get to the other one, it became a breeze. Along the way, I eventually took it more seriously and searched up what Pokemon type is strong against who, and it really helped me finish the game. That's another thing I want to mention though. The game started off so easy where I felt like my Pokemon was somewhat the strongest being alive. But as the game was suddenly nearing its end, it actually got so hard and it required me to grind in the game, beating random wild Pokemon to level up. While the game started off so strong for me up until the middle, I did find myself wanting to finish it as I was finishing the 3 main quests. And when I did, I had a sigh of relief. All of that made me a fan, but blind bias aside, maybe the game was a little too repetitive at times, and I'd expect what would happen too. Sometimes it was comical and charming, but sometimes it would feel lazy too. I'd rate Pokemon Scarlet an 8.9 out of 10. My experience playing video games definitely made me feel some type of way. Sometimes I'd get too overwhelmed or too hyper-focused on beating the unbeatable and irritating amygdala. But sometimes it would calm my nerves when I would explore the beautiful, pixelated world of Pokemon and interacting with the NPCs. Sometimes it would get me scared in each second that I was exploring the map in Raccoon City's haunted mansion. Either way, I'm glad I found this hobby, and I'm grateful for my girlfriend for letting me experience it. And this definitely isn't the end of my newfound video gaming journey. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my YouTube video. Like, comment, and subscribe and support it please. This is my first ever YouTube video. I want to know what are your guys' thoughts. Do you like the video game selection I had? Should I try other games? Comment down below.